What's going on, my people? Welcome to STR News and Digest, your go-to place for everything related to short-term rentals, travel, and the business of hospitality. Do me a favor, guys. Let me know in the comments how my audio is. I've been testing out different mics, and today's no exception. In fact, let me put this up here so I can get a little closer to me. And again, as always, if you're watching, give me and have a question, list them in the comment. If not, just say hi so I know you're there. And then towards the end, I will answer any question that you guys may have. Today, it's not going to be a long show. What I want to talk about today is, number one, my frustration with Airbnb. We're going to talk about what they're currently doing because Airbnb is really tightening up their game, especially in the last 4 months. We're going to talk about a shift in travel behavior that could hurt unprepared listings. We're also going to talk about direct bookings are a must. I've been saying that for years now, but now it's even more important, especially after I tell you what's going on with Airbnb. We're going to talk about new regulations creeping up into more markets and the biggest mistakes hosts are making right now. So let's go, my beautiful people. Let's start with Airbnb. Airbnb is continuing to push what they refer to as quality over quantity, right? We are seeing, and I'm experiencing this firsthand, listings getting removed or buried, right? They're not pushing them. And there's a big, strong effort for that guest experience. And here's what's happening on the Airbnb platform. And I predicted this. So if you go back to last year, or I think it was last year, or Q1 of 2024, when they rolled out their version of co-hosting, I knew this was coming, and we have data to show that it's correct, or that I was correct, right? So here's what's happening, guys. Their policy as to what type of properties should be on Airbnb is quickly shifting. And here's what's happening. They don't want, there's too many properties on Airbnb right now. That's the bottom line. There's too many. And they're trying to get rid of those properties that are not performing, but they're using AI. And the problem is that the information that was included in there is, and I'm going to curse right here, so if you got kids, take them out of the room, is really fucked up. And I'm going to tell you what's going on. If you recall, we purchased the property in Hollywood last year or 2 years ago. No, it was last year. That property, we renovated it, we fixed it up. That property was banned on Airbnb from the prior owner. Unbeknownst to us, we didn't know that. So when we took it over, we fixed it, we remodeled it, and then we advertised it as normal. About 2 months into it, I get notice from Airbnb that they're going to take this property off the platform because it was banned. I initially didn't really take it serious because I wrote back and said, hey, we just bought the property. I sent them the information as to the day we purchased it. And if it was banned, it wasn't under our umbrella when it was banned. And I pretty much got an FU. They don't care. It's not coming back on. That was my red flag number one. Fast forward to now. We added a brand new property. It wasn't ours. We're managing for someone else. Before we went live, we specifically told the owner, hey, first of all, let me just backtrack. There's a backstory. If you follow this channel, I have said this time and time again, that pools are not a good amenity for a short-term rental. They're a pain in the ass, they're expensive, and most of your headaches or most of the complaints that the guests are going to have are going to be as a result of a pool. Okay, so fast forward to this new client that we got. They insisted on adding a pool. We told them there's going to be an issue. We normally don't advertise that our pools are heated. And the reason, even though they may be, we still don't advertise it. And the reason being is because heat is relative, right? What might be warm to you may be cold to somebody else, or it may be hot to somebody else. So we don't like to do that because it's very difficult to regulate that, and very, very difficult to please everyone when it comes to that. Again, that's our experience. With this particular owner, still wanted us to advertise that the pool was heated. Well, guess what? The very first guest was the biggest entitled a-hole I've ever met, and he complained about the pool, about it being too, I think it was too hot or too warm or whatever it was, but he complained. And then he started complaining about a bunch of other stuff. Anyway, long story short, he gave us a 1, right? Really, that was our first guest, our first review. Really hurt that listing. Can't recover from that. You can't. I'm going to repeat that. You can't recover from that. So here's what happens. We get a notice from Airbnb that we fell under the one review, one guest. We get a notice that that listing was in danger of being banned, and they suspended the listing. So right off the bat, I knew we were in trouble. We're not going to be able to recover. So when our suspension period was over, we decided to take it off Airbnb for even a longer period of time until we can convince the owner to change certain protocols that we knew were going to hurt the listing. Once we did that, we went back live. We activated the listing. Airbnb now came back to us. Again, we activated the listing. We had several guests, and we have, I believe at the time, we had 4 5 stars, and then we get another a-hole booking the property and dropped us down again because it's not enough reviews to recover from one bad review. If you don't know how the system works, which if you're watching, hopefully you know, one really bad review, meaning in the stars, because it doesn't matter what they write. It doesn't matter how many stars they give you. So you get one of those bad ones, man, it just takes forever to recover. So here's what happens. It took us down below the 4.2 that's required because we only had a couple of good ones, and then this one came. Plus, we already had that first one that was bad. And bam, now we get the notice that the property is going to be banned. Can't be back on Airbnb. We cried. We demonstrated that these are one-off reviews. Doesn't matter. They don't want to listen. It's a big headache. But the point of all this is because I am telling you, Airbnb, let me backtrack again. If you're in this game long enough, you're going to get a bad review. It's almost impossible to keep a 5-star rating on your Airbnb account. I'm going to give you one even better. That same property, and we gave that information to Airbnb, the same property that just got banned, we're on other channels. We showed that on the other channels, we had all of them were 4.9. Our average was 4.9 on the other platforms. They still didn't care. It still didn't matter. Why? Because they want properties off the platform. They only want properties that they are monetizing. And I'm going to go back to what I just mentioned about their the co-hosting program that they have, right? Those are the properties they want. Those are the properties they're pushing. If you go on Airbnb right now, and again, it's going to be it's going to be very regional. But if you go to South Florida, you'll see the ones they're pushing. And the ones they're pushing are the ones that I'm referring to, or they're brand new listings and they got lucky and they got the first three reviews were all 5 stars. Those are the ones they're pushing. But again, I'm going to go back. I'll tell you another story real quick. We had another property that's been on my platform. It's a property that I own. It's been on Airbnb now for, I believe, 8 years. And in those 8 years, we've averaged a 4 point. Right now, I think we're at 4.8 because we just got it back up. But we had one bad review. Knocked us down. We get that notification. We didn't get suspended, but we got that notification that the rating is dropping. So I called Airbnb again, and I'm like, listen, this property's been on your platform for 8 freaking years, and in those 8 years, we've never had an issue. I don't understand why you guys are taking 1 or 2 reviews and treating them as gospel. They're not, but they don't want to listen. Anyway, having said that, I'm telling you, word of caution, do not rely on Airbnb. They don't want you on their platform. They're not your friend. I said that multiple times before. So rely heavily and build your own database so that you can get more direct bookings. The property that I referred to that got banned didn't matter. We're still, and that property is still profitable. It's still doing well. It's just not listed on Airbnb anymore. And that was because here's the deal. I know more properties are going to get banned. And I know owners are going to be complaining about the properties being banned, right? But I now have data that I can show the owner that who gives an F about Airbnb. We don't need Airbnb anymore. We can be just as successful on all the other platforms. Okay. Let's see what I want. Next. Okay, travelers are booking later, or the booking window is extremely short. I've been saying this for a while. I noticed this trend very early on, but now we're seeing that trend not only for booking Airbnbs or short-term rentals, but we're also seeing that trend. And I mentioned this on not last week's. I don't think I was on last week, but the week prior, STR News and Digest. I mentioned this. You're seeing that in all aspects of travel. They're booking airline tickets last minute. They're taking last minute trips. That is increasing tremendously. So if you look at your calendar and it's 2 to 3 weeks out, and you're seeing that it's not, it's still kind of empty or 50% occupied, don't sweat it. Especially if you are in the South Florida. I'm going to give you some areas in which this is really, really high. South Florida is one. South Florida, I can go into a month and be only 40 to 50% occupied, but I won't stress because I know by the end of the month, I'll be at 80 plus, right? So South Florida is one place. Georgia is another place. My Georgia property, same thing, last minute bookings. Colombia is another one, last minute bookings. And let me see real quick, because I believe Texas. No, Arizona. Last minute bookings at Arizona. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. Let me see what else I want to talk about. All right, so I'm going to go back and talk about direct bookings because, guys, I'm here to tell you direct bookings it's no longer an option. It's no longer something that that's a second thought. It has to be front and center, right? Platforms are great, but as I just mentioned with Airbnb, you cannot rely on them. You really have to focus on direct bookings. I go back and I reminisce because I've been in this industry a long time. I go back when Airbnb didn't exist, and we didn't consider us short-term rentals. We used to call ourselves seasonal rentals, right? Because most of my business happened during the winter season when we got all the snowbirds that would come down. We don't see that much anymore, but the industry has changed dramatically. But what I did notice, or what I have noticed in the last couple of years, how you can still have a very successful business without OTAs. I'm going to give you an example. Hotels do it all the time. Marriott, Sheraton's, they don't, they spend very little advertising on outside platforms, right? Very few do. Expedia has some hotels that are on there, but Marriott is independent, man. They only advertise on Marriott, and Marriott is a billion-dollar industry, right? Not saying that if you have one property that you're going to have the reach that Marriott has, but I am saying that if you're in this game long enough, you should be establishing a solid customer base. How do you do that? Through marketing and through creating your own email marketing list. If you guys need help with that, we're here. We are here to help with that. Our team specializes in this. If you look at my chart, we only get beat by Airbnb. Very difficult to beat Airbnb in terms of booking. But I can guarantee you, if I take all my properties off Airbnb, I will still be profitable. Now, we keep it on Airbnb because it's easy, right? We post it on there. They have a huge customer base. We rely on their marketing dollars, but it's expensive, right? And I'm going to share some news that wasn't advertised because, again, Airbnb is not your friend. But if you recall, Airbnb switched to what they refer to as transparency pricing, and they switched everyone to their 15, meaning you were going to be paying the entire service fee that Airbnb charges. In the past, for example, with us, we were only paying 3.3%, and then the guest paid the remainder of the service fee. It was split. Then Q4 of last year, they switched that. Everyone went to a 15.5% service fee to advertise on Airbnb. Well, guess what? They realized that was a huge mistake, and they went back to it, but didn't tell anybody. So here's what I want you to do. Go to your Airbnb account. Go to where it says payouts, and then you're going to see two options. You're going to see that the option where you pay the 15.5% and the option where you can go back to the old style, the old system, and split the cost with the guest. All right. Highly recommend that you split the cost with the guest. Again, it's frustrating. I'm right now like anti Airbnb. Can't stand them. Couldn't stand them before, but it was a love-hate relationship because I really, they really made life easy. But man, they're not making life easy anymore. All right, so let's go. The last story, I think this is the last story. No, two more things I want to talk about before we finish today, and then we'll go into questions, is more cities are tightening regulations, right? More cities across the U.S. are requiring the following. And I knew this was coming, right? South Florida, we've had this for years now. So now they're requiring short-term rentals to be permanent. You got to get a license to operate. Zoning restrictions. Some cities are now creating special zones for short-term rentals. And this is a big one. Some cities are also limiting your rental days, right? They can't prevent you. Here's the thing. A city, just like Miami Beach at one point, they tried to ban short-term rentals. And they got sued and they lost. So you can have short-term rentals in Miami Beach again. But what they can do is regulate how you operate. And here's one of the ways that kills your short-term rental business. This is what New York City did, right? They limit the amount of days you can do it. So, or there's a minimum requirement. So most of them, the ones that want to ban short-term rentals but can't, They'll just make it what a standard rental is, which is 30 days. So your minimum stay is 30. We're seeing that a lot. I mean, right now, there's several cities in South Florida that have a 30-day minimum. In essence, it's no longer a short-term rental. It's more of a regular rental. Now, I still have properties or I still manage properties in these areas where there's that 30-day minimum, and I still operate there as a short-term rental operator because I don't want to deal with landlord-tenant laws. So, but it is gray, people. That's a very gray area. If you allow someone to stay on your property for 30 days, whether you have a short-term rental license or not, you might have issues. I'm waiting for the first challenge to see how that's going to work. But that's a problem. So, and all right, the last thing I'm going to talk about is some of the mistakes that I'm seeing. Not mistakes, some of the misconceptions that I see from owners. If you are an owner and you're allowing a company to manage your property, especially if you're allowing us to manage your property, let us manage it, right? Let us do our job. We just had a very, very nasty breakup with an owner because the owner was a huge micromanager. And the owner got in trouble because the owner decided to overstep us and try to take actions into her own hands, and she got a violation. All right? Listen, I'm going to tell you right now, we will advise you. If you don't take our advice, it's on you, man. It's not on me. So if you are an owner and you're going to let someone manage your property, let them manage your property, right? There's nothing that says that you can't supervise or oversee what's going on. But if they're in the process of doing something, let them do it. Don't interject, because it's at the end of the day, it's not my property. That violation is not on me. That violation is on her. Now, she thinks it's on me, but it ain't on me. So anyway, that's a big one. The second big one is stop looking at your property on Airbnb. They're not going to show your property. I get to this day, even though we tell them all the time, don't do that because it hurts the listing. We still get calls from owners saying, hey, I was looking for my property on Airbnb. I can't find it. Yeah, you're not going to find it, right? Airbnb is not going to show it to you. So, but it's there. And this is what blows my mind. Anyways, I wasn't going to say it, but I'm going to say it anyway. This is what blows my mind. The person that called me on it, the property was 82% booked. I was saying, hey, we can't see our property. What? I don't think we're going to get bookings. You're 80% occupied. What are you talking about? Anyway, don't do that. All right? Don't do that. That's a huge mistake. And then the last mistake is if you're going to buy a property to convert it into a short-term rental property, one of the big mistakes that we see there is that they're going to decorate it and buy furniture based on their taste. Don't do that. You need to separate yourself from that property, because that property, if you're going to put it on as a short-term rental, is a business now. So you need to make business decisions, not emotional decisions. Not, I like the color green, so I'm going to paint the house green. That's not a business decision. It's not a sound decision. You need to understand what the market trends are, and this is where your short-term rental operator or manager will be a big help. You need to know what type of furniture to buy, what works, what doesn't work, how to decorate it, what works, what doesn't work. That's what they're there for. But I see it all the time. They want to decorate it the way they like it, and then when they buy furniture, especially IKEA furniture, and that thing breaks in 2 days, then they're going to be spending a lot more money replacing damaged furniture that they shouldn't have bought to begin with. And when they get complaints from guests because they didn't like X, Y, and Z, then you know why. All right, guys, let me see. Are there any questions? Because I was rambling and I wasn't looking at this. Don't know if you, let me see. I didn't know that you can get banned for bad reviews. Yes, you can get banned. If your listing goes below, I believe it's 4.2, then you're going to get suspended, and then the second one you get banned, and banned for life. That's the problem. Bring up the next question. Which cities have those regulations? Too many to tell you. Way too many to tell you which cities have regulations. Next question. Better to avoid investing in cities with these regulations. When it comes to investing, no, it's not better to avoid them, because eventually wherever you go, I think there's going to be regulations. So it doesn't matter where you go. What's important, I personally would want to invest in an area that already has established regulations, right? Because you know the rules of the game. What sucks is that when you go into something and then they change the game on you, then you're in trouble, right? So know the rules of the game, and it's easier to play. Next question.
That's it.
All right, my beautiful people. Thank you for watching. Until next time, safe travels. Love you guys. My luxury Airbnb isn't getting booked. Even though my property is in perfect condition, has all the best amenities, and I always respond quickly to all the inquiries, my occupancy rate doesn't go higher than 20 and 30%. That's the story that I hear all the time from short-term rental operators. But don't stress, because that's what we're here for. When you partner with us, you do not have to worry about anything. We will handle it all. We'll make sure that we give you the correct and proper marketing strategy so that you can reach that 80-90% occupancy rate that most of us desire. You heard that right. When you partner with us, you don't have to worry about a thing, and we'll make sure that you reach that occupancy rate that you so desire. Just DM me the word partner.